The presidents of Russia and Iran met in Moscow Friday to sign a broad 20-year treaty. The two leaders say the strategic partnership covers all areas, including trade, military cooperation, scientific collaboration, education, and culture. And they signed the agreement just days before President-elect Trump is sworn into office. On the campaign trail, he vowed to take a tougher stance on Iran and work to broker peace in Ukraine. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us now for our weekly national security wrap-up. So, Sam, how could this treaty affect U.S. policy toward Russia and Iran, especially with Trump taking office?
Well, Lindsay, President-elect Trump is expected to make some pretty major U-turns on policy toward both Iran and Russia. So the timing of this cooperation treaty does not seem coincidental, just 3 days before he is inaugurated. It is worth noting that Russia and Iran have a pretty checkered past. They haven't always been close. But in recent years, the relations have been warming. For example, in July 2022, Vladimir Putin met with his counterpart in Iran. And after that meeting, Russia received approval to start manufacturing Iranian drones within Russia that they're using already on the battlefield in Ukraine. And reportedly, Iran has sent ballistic missiles to Russia as well. Fast forward to this past week, and the two countries signed a treaty that does not require each other to come to each other's defense like Russia's treaty with North Korea does. What it entails is a promise not to aid the other's aggressor during any kind of conflict. It also, for example, allows for Russian LNG exports to pass through Iran on the way to the Persian Gulf. So I would expect more of a warming of ties between these two countries as they seek to counterbalance against the United States under President-elect Trump.
President Biden said this week that these foreign adversaries are cozying up to each other out of weakness, not strength. Do you agree?
I do agree. Iran is seriously weakened. Russia is starved for revenues after both countries, in fact, are suffering crippling sanctions. And I do think that as increased pressure faces both countries for different reasons, both through military losses and economic losses, they're going to need different partners. So I would expect them to continue growing closer, but this is a sign of weakness as they're struggling to find friends when they need them the most.
Shifting to other news this week, President Biden's decision to remove Cuba from the state-sponsored terrorism list. I mean, is it pretty widely expected that Trump will reverse this? And can you remind us the history there?
My sources within the Biden White House are telling me that they expect President-elect Trump's administration to add Cuba back to the list in relatively short order. Now, Cuba was one of 4 countries on this list. Iran, North Korea, and Syria still remain on the state sponsors of terrorism list. And Cuba has been on and off this list for decades. More recently, President Obama removed Cuba from this list in 2015, and then President Trump added them back on in 2021, just days before he left office. It is worth noting that being on this list shouldn't be an arbitrary decision by an administration. To be on the list, there must be a careful analysis that the country is repeatedly engaged in acts to support international terrorism. Being on the list comes with a range of sanctions, including a restriction on foreign assistance, as well as export controls. So we'll see how long this removal lasts. But during this period, there is a series of potential financial windfalls for Cuba that could materialize.
Samantha Vinograd, have a great weekend.
Same to you.